What does being an under-the-radar team actually mean? What most fans would say it means, and love to say in the comments section, is a team that's being disrespected, which also translates to their team is not being talked about enough. Let's be clear, we are not talking about the Vancouver Canucks and Winnipeg Jets, two teams that have shocked the league this season with their place in the hockey hierarchy, which at this moment is literally right at the top of the West, 1 and 2, based purely on points. Vancouver fans, we hear you. There may be some disrespect towards your team, but not for being under the radar. For better or worse, your team has been talked about by everyone from opening night until now. So that begs the question, who's this mystery under the radar team that everybody needs to be talking about more? Let's meet the contenders, starting with the Seattle Kraken. Now, technically, this team has gotten a lot of attention recently because Oliver Bjorkstrand had to cancel his vacation to San Diego for All-Star Weekend in Toronto, but that's not the type of attention we're looking for. Before we go any further, without looking it up, where are the Kraken right now in the standings? Have I given you enough time? You got your answer? Okay, it's right on the cusp of a wildcard spot. They'd also won 9 in a row before a loss to the Penguins this week and had recorded a point in 13 straight games. Fresh off their first playoff appearance and series win in franchise history, the Kraken flopped like a fish in Pike Place Market to start the season. On December 10th, Seattle lost their 8th game in a row to fall to 8, 14, and 7. But since then, they've lost just 3 times in regulation, which happened to be their last 3 games. And in what's been a weird year of goaltending around the league, Joey Daccord, a 7th round pick by the Sens in 2015, has the 5th best goals against average among all goalies that have played a minimum of 15 games. Not bad for a guy who had never played more than 10 games in a single season before this year. Yes, Seattle has no stars in the traditional sense of the word, so it's not surprising to see them simmer under the radar, but their style of play is just tough to play against. As per Money Puck, the Kraken have allowed the fewest high-danger chances at even strength. And while they don't create a ton of offense, they've still got a better expected goals for percentage than the Canucks, Leafs, and Rangers, as per Natural Stat Trick. So the Kraken, they're on a roll right now, and they may be flying under most people's radar, but they are not the answer to the original question. So who is the most under the radar team in the league currently? That would be the Florida Panthers. Like Tony Stark in the first Iron Man, only stealthier.
This thing just appeared out of nowhere. How come it didn't show up on the radar? Is it stealth?
No, sir, it's tiny.
It's weird to say that the Panthers are the most under the radar team in hockey right now, considering they made it to the Stanley Cup final less than a season ago. But they're still not getting the respect that they deserve, including by us.
We discuss who the best team in the NHL actually is: the Canucks, the Avalanche, the Golden Knights, the Rangers, or
Your Winnipeg Jets.
So consider this a public service announcement to those who may not know. The Florida Panthers are really good at hockey, like maybe best team in the league good. Last season, the Panthers were under 500 through 44 games, and this season they're 27, 13, and 4. Good for second in the Atlantic. What's more impressive, though, is how they got to this point. If we go all the way back to the beginning of the season, the Panthers were heading into it without their top 2 defensemen, Aaron Ekblad and Brandon Montour. They signed Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Dmitry Kulikov as replacements. And we, being me, I looked at this team like a lot of other people, lacking depth, barely scrapping into a playoff spot last season, OT luck in the postseason, Bob turning back the clock, and I thought they'd come crashing down from a magical run to maybe being a wildcard team or out of the playoffs. Instead, they've improved on already great underlying numbers last season. According to Natural Stat Trick, their high danger chances for percentage and scoring chances for percentage at 5-on-5 are both up from last year to this season. They've also improved in the takeaway giveaway department and are much better defensively than they were a season ago, limiting high danger chances and shots. Gustav Forsling looks like a number 1 defenseman, and he and Aaron Ekblad have been one of the best pairs in the league by any metric. Maybe more importantly though, Sergei Bobrovsky is back to being an all-star and having his best season since 2017-18 when he was with the Columbus Blue Jackets. Last season, Bob allowed 2 or fewer goals 19 times in 50 games. This season, he's done it 16 times in 33, which is almost half his starts. And nobody would have predicted this turnaround from a guy that hasn't been in the Vezina conversation in 4 years. And then there's the forwards leading this group. Matthew Tkachuk had a slow start to the season, but he had 7 goals and 18 points over a 9-game streak that just came to an end. Sam Reinhart's in the Rocket race. He's hit the 30-goal mark for the 3rd season in a row. His next goal will give him a new career high, and even though his shooting percentage is absolutely unsustainable at over 25%, who are we to say he's going to slow down? go get your money, Sam. Then there's Carter Verhaeghe, who's on pace for his best season. Alex Barkov is a Selke candidate again. And their top 2 lines are in the top 10 in expected goals percentage, according to MoneyPuck, of all lines that have played a minimum of 200 minutes. And we haven't even mentioned Sam Bennett, who's a nightmare to play against, and his style kind of embodies what this Panthers team is. They're a nightmare to play against. They're not overly physical, they don't block a ton of shots, but they are always in the other team's end, creating high danger chances, and it's not just one line doing the damage. So, in a state dominated by the Lightning dynasty, a division consumed by Bruins and Leafs discourse, a conference with hockey's most storied teams succeeding, like the Rangers, Flyers, Islanders, and Penguins, the Panthers are gearing up for another long postseason run, and they're better than last year, whether we want to pay attention or not.